Good morning, everybody. This is Rich Ramirez from East Rosebud Studios coming to you not live in beautiful spring, Montana, 2024. And, you know, today's special. In our superbly mediocre podcast, I have my absolute first guest, and I'm proud of that. Although I got to admit, you know, Booty's not here, and I feel a little naked. A little bootyless, a little booty deficient. But my first guest, everybody, is Brady Hefner. So Brady,
Thanks for having me.
Oh fuck, it's an honor, man. And Brady's a long-standing friend of mine. Brady's a long-standing customer of mine. Brady used to work for me. Brady's done a little bit of tying for me. And if you ever watch our Instagram fly tying videos or check out our YouTube page, Brady's done his fair share of tying bugs for me as well. So, Brady, welcome, motherfucker.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I don't know why you're here. I mean, why would you come here?
Because you asked.
Okay, well, it's simple as that. Clearly, neither of us have anything to fucking do.
I suppose.
All right.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons why I did ask was there were reasons.
Sure.
Right? You know, my co-host, Brandon Booty, Bighorn guide primarily.
Sure.
But really getting into it.
Yep.
You know, still in that like kind of, you know, I've gotten some trips. I've done an okay to decent job, which means I'm going to get a bunch more fucking calls next year.
Yep.
And that's kind of the stage it goes, because when somebody becomes a licensed guide, and I just want to say this to all you people out there, don't fucking do it. Fuck. I mean, you know, I'm in the fly fishing industry, and I have been for a decade and a half, and clearly I'm in the specialty retail part of it.
Sure.
And I work with people that work with vendors. I work with territory sales reps, people that aren't necessarily employees of vendors, but they still represent them in a territory.
Right.
But out of everything that there is in specialty, you know, just in fly fishing, the industry, I would say guiding is by far the fucking toughest.
I'd have to agree. I mean, I've kind of had my hand in a lot of it, you know.
I know you have, and that's why I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
You know, we can break down the experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Just for sure. No doubt.
Right.
No doubt.
So you, just let me clarify a couple things. You're primarily a Bighorn River guide.
Anymore, yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
I used to bounce around, but I mean, went as far as to buy a house in Fort Smith, so that's where I'm at
In Fort
now.
Smith, you bought a house. It's
I did.
kind of more of a shack.
Yeah, you could call it a shack.
That's not true. I've seen it. It's a house. It's a home. It's a home. I'm kidding. But you did that just recently.
Yeah, just a couple of weeks ago.
And so that's interesting to me on a bunch of fronts, because number one, that means that professionally, and I don't minimize the term professionally as we talk about a guide in Montana, but you're committed to that river.
I am, yeah. I mean,
you're committed to that river.
I'm pretty fortunate to be where I'm at work-wise with my two lodges.
Okay.
And, you know, it gets to a point where, you know, I'd love to do a couple weeks on the Yellowstone a year or whatever. But
just to break that shit up.
Sure.
Right, make your lady wear a new wig in bed or something.
Sure. Right. But, I mean, if I start saying no to my lodges... You know,
who are these lodges? Excuse me.
The Bighorn River Lodge and the Eagle Nest Lodge.
Okay, great. And those are both top-tier lodges on the Bighorn River.
Totally.
Also, long-standing lodges. I mean, isn't the Bighorn River Lodge like the first?
I think it's one of the first three, I believe.
Because, I mean, that was Phil Gonzalez, who's a Billings man and a friend of mine. He built that shit, right? That was him.
That was him.
And he was also the dude that took it legal with the Crow tribe.
Correct.
Regarding literally non-Indian folks being able to fish on that river?
Correct.
And that was back in like the 80s, right?
Yeah, it was.
I think it's the 80s.
Early 80s, 82, 83, I believe.
And the rub on that was the Crow tribe, or I believe that's who it was, basically said, hey, if you're not an enrolled tribal member, you're not on the fucking bank of this river.
That's how I understand it as well. Yeah.
You know, and Phil said, fuck that.
Yeah.
You know, and he I think that went to the Supreme Court.
I believe it did. I believe it did. I'd love to know more about it.
You know, that's something that I should have Phil on here, because, you know, he's such a gentleman. And,
he is.
You know, as I sit here in my mid to late 50s, and I've been fishing for quite a while, I mean, fuck, you know, I mean, you're not even 1% of what that man's done.
No.
I mean, holy crap, right?
Right.
I mean, basically, there's going to be hundreds of people on the Bighorn River today, maybe more.
Sure.
And the truth is, it's because of Phil.
Totally.
You know, it's
Yeah.
because of Phil, and he built that lodge at the Bighorn River access, right?
Yep. just
13
downstream.
mile, that's
Yep,
right.
yep.
And Matt Clausen's the outfitter there.
He is.
Nobody's better than him.
No, one of the best guys out there.
No, nobody's better
He's
than
phenomenal.
Matt. Oh fuck, he
Yep.
comes in here, he doesn't say 2 words, and I know how great he is.
He's the man.
He's the man.
Yep.
And then of course John and Rebecca Shirley run your Eagles Nest Lodge, right?
They do. Also, top-notch people.
No doubt.
I mean, tough to beat.
And that's down by Hardin, right?
It is, yeah. It's kind of past the fairgrounds.
Okay.
So upriver Hardin, just a couple miles. Yep.
And so to get back to your purchase of property recently,
Sure.
that you're committed to that river.
Yep.
You're really not going to do any other rivers unless it's just something special, whatever.
Yep.
But why? I mean, why stick to the Bighorn River? Because you can get those days?
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm comfortable with my work situation with the 2 lodges,
Okay.
you know. I used to bounce around a lot, you know, between Stillwater, Yellowstone, Bighorn, Thermopolis, North Fork, South Fork, the Shoshone,
You're
Main
paying your
Fork.
dues.
Yeah, it was great.
paying your
You know,
dues.
it was a blast for a couple of years.
But you learn.
A guy gets sick of living in his truck. You know, that was kind of my thing. Was,
Wow. You literally were sleeping in your truck.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, just because that $150, $125 for a room that night, well, I mean, obviously that's not going to make it work.
Right. Yeah, you're just blowing your profit, you know. So I would camp at Loose Lake when I was guiding in Cody, free camping in the back of my truck, and then every couple nights I'd run over to the KOA and grab a shower, and it was grindy.
God damn.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Super fun.
Yeah,
but-
super fun, but super fucking tough.
Totally.
Because a lot of people that would be listening, and we're talking we're less than 20 are listening, maybe less than 15, because we might be particularly boring.
We might
right?
be. Yeah.
And, you know, they don't know that if somebody walks into my shop today and they buy a guided trip, I'm going to charge them $650.
Yep.
And that $650 pretty much goes 4 ways.
Correct.
People think that, like, if you're a guide and you get this, you know, $600 a day, I hate to break it to everybody, but they don't get all that.
No.
I mean, the first person I give some to is a fucking credit card company.
Yep.
I swipe a fucking credit card, 3.5% out of that $650. Boom, there's number 1.
Yep.
Number 2, in the state of Montana, you cannot book a guided trip as a guide. An outfitter is the only person that can legally book and facilitate and supervise a guided trip.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
So so then boom, there's his cut.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm not bagging on that at all. There's you know, with an
Rules are
outfit,
rules.
not only that, but there's a lot of responsibility with being an outfitter.
Oh God.
You know, there's a bunch of guides out there that are the greatest fucking guides on the face of the earth, but they can't market.
Right.
You know, if somebody doesn't have a book of business, which means they love Brady so much, they're going to come back to the Horn and only fish with your ass, no matter what.
Yep.
That to me is when somebody can start thinking about transitioning to being an outfitter.
Sure.
But if you don't want the responsibility of recruiting trips, and that ain't easy,
No.
that's the burden an outfitter has as opposed to a fishing guide.
Well, you know, I look at a guy like Matt Clausen who's so damn organized.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so dialed.
No doubt.
And I had an instance yesterday where I had to call him and apologize to him. And you've known me a long time. I'm not one to get pissed off or, you know, whatever. But
Jesus, you got pissed off?
I did.
Fuck.
I did.
I'm shocked.
Not at Matt. It wasn't, you know, that's why I had to call and make sure he knew it wasn't directed at him. But I got canceled on some trips that were, I think it was a 5-day deal.
In the month of April?
In the month of May, it's 34 days out. So, you know, the way the policies work, I get nothing, and, you know, the odds of rebooking that are pretty damn slim.
Let me ask you quickly, what did you get canceled for?
I think it was 4 days.
But just they
dropped a boat. I don't know if someone was sick or, you know.
All right, whatever.
Who knows?
It all goes down. All right, so you basically, so that means that just roughly, I'm thinking this roughly. Let me punch your shit out. Let's say 4 days, 5 days.
Yep.
God damn. I mean, you're probably looking at about, I don't know, somewhere between 2,500 and 3 G's.
Yeah. Yeah, somewhere in there.
And that just got wiped from your ass just like that.
Right. And the way I bring that up is, you know, Matt's such a good dude. He texted me, totally apologized. And again, it's not his fault.
Yeah.
But I took it bad. It was like,
yeah,
this is bullshit, you know?
Well, so when did you commit to those days?
10 months ago.
10 months ago? You're fucking kidding.
Yeah.
Jesus, 10 months ago. God, let me go back 10 months ago. Holy fuck.
No, that's part of it with the outfitting deal, you know? Like, especially at a lodge where, I don't know how many boat days we're running through that lodge, but Clausen is on top of all of that.
No doubt. No doubt.
Man,
that's not a cheap day either.
No,
I mean, I would imagine, you know, you go in there and you book a day and a night. That's a different tab than going into Fort Smith and getting a quick trip.
I'd imagine so.
Yep. So they fucking canceled. And so why wouldn't the lodge say, hey, you canceled. We've got to get this guy a cancellation fee.
Well, I mean, they would if it was inside 30 days. And that's
why you're pissed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I calmed down pretty quickly. But, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, that's a part of an outfitting job.
That is.
And that sucks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But the thing about that is, and I was talking about the burden, the responsibility of an outfitter. The difference between there is that you have a physical entity. You have a lodge. And you have a website. You can do great meals. You can do comfortable lodging. And you can do 2-minute drive to the river and just really make it a great trout fishing experience for clients.
Sure.
I think an outfitter that has that's different.
It's a different game
than an independent outfitter that's not attached to any particular lodge. And,
sure.
And you know, I work with somebody local here by the name of Brian Knob, and Brian's a great dude.
Oh yeah.
I also work with a younger gentleman by the name of Pierce OJ, who's really starting to log some great trips. And these are two outfitters that these fuckers, I mean, their practice is all them.
Sure.
It's all them.
Yep.
And that's 100% based on good fishing experiences with clients.
Yeah.
Straight up. I mean, I feed them a decent amount of business, but I'm in Billings, and it's not like people are lining up to book trips with me, although we appreciate when they do.
Sure.
And so the outfitter has to have the responsibility of getting people to contact them, right?
Yep.
Guides don't. So guides can't book trips in the state of Montana. And talking about that for pay thing from that $650 I take.
Yep.
Credit card company, outfitter, fly shop.
Correct.
Because I'm going to take my piece of that $650. The point to me breaking this shit down to folks is I just don't think they know that.
Probably not.
Fuck, they think it's just, oh, here you go, what a great day. I'll fuck. No. When you talk about having to sleep at the fucking, you know, at Loose Lake. In between days on the Shoshone, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Right. You know, you do that. I mean, like, I'm like, holy fuck. We're gonna talk about that later because that's not conducive to relationships.
No, it is not. No.
Right?
Not at all.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
So finally, after those 3 paid entities, then finally the guide gets his cut.
Correct.
And that's really when it becomes what you just described, which is profitable.
Yes.
Because if you're driving from Billings, Montana to and from the Bighorn River, which is $160, $170 round trip.
80 miles one way. Yeah.
Fuck, nowadays when you're putting gas in a fucking truck tank, there's no way to make any money in driving there and back and deal with that.
I don't think so. I mean, I commuted the first, I started at Cottonwood for a couple years, got out of that, and was kind of guiding all over town. Yeah. Whoever would have me type of deal. And I would commute every day for 2 years.
Jesus Christ.
A very good veteran guide down there by the name of Del Despain.
Oh, cool boy.
Yeah.
That's a veteran, all right.
Great friend.
Jesus. Great guide.
Great guide.
Great dude.
He sat me down one night and said, Brady, I've never seen a guide commute and make it down here.
Wow.
So...
And you know, Del don't say nothing unless he needs to.
Correct.
Right? Correct. He ain't flapping his gums about nothing. He just, you know, very sincere and very straightforward and very honest.
Totally.
Yep. So that's good advice.
Very, very. Yep. So I moved on from a camper from there and started staying down there.
Yeah. And that's where you just kind of matured. So something else a lot of folks may not know is that in this area, which is south central Montana, we've got the Bighorn River southeast of us.
Yep.
And then we've got a good pocket of quality blue ribbon freestones west of us.
Correct.
Okay. And out of those, there's probably 4 or 5 entities that are floatable and guidable. The thing is that, especially the last decade, how many fucking guided trips do you think they've been doing on the Yellowstone before May 1?
Oh, man.
Whew, like not a lot.
No.
I mean, between varying colors in these freestones, flows, all this shit.
Sure.
Point is, from January till the end of April on these freestones, you're not guaranteed dick.
No.
And at least you on the horn, you've got a April-ish and definitely a May practice, right?
Totally.
And here's the other thing. You go to May 1 for these freestone guides. I'm talking guides on the Stillwater. I'm talking guides on the Yellowstone, right? And there's a lot of guides on the Yellowstone from, let's say, Big Timber west to Livingston and then south up to Gardner, right? I mean, there's a shit ton.
Totally.
Well, there's not a bunch of people working pre-May 1.
That way you mean?
Just anywhere on those freestones.
Sure.
I mean, it happens, and we're having a good, nice, warm, comfortable spring. So I'm sure there's been some trips.
Sure.
But my point is, to a guide making a living, to a guide producing an income, January through the end of April, most don't have any.
Yeah. No,
so it's like,
true.
what the fuck? I mean, that adds to how tough this job is,
it's
right?
Short window.
Jesus Christ.
Short window.
The difference is on the horn, you at least get some spring income.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fishable year round.
True, but that doesn't mean somebody's going to, pay and be,
Correct.
high 20s in late March.
I mean, I've done trips in every month out of the year in my career.
Wow.
But I don't get particularly busy until usually mid to late April.
Yeah, and that's my point, that, that's the most guided river in the state of Montana, I would assume.
Either that or the Missouri.
Yep. And if not, top 3.
Correct.
So that is a busy river, which garners a lot of attention, a lot of attraction. It's had its ups and downs as far as fishing.
Yep.
And right now, it's probably in your sweet spot.
It's fishing great.
Fuck, I got a good customer by the name of J.D. Rhodes, him and his wife Andy. These two, they fish the horn like crazy. And you should have seen this beautiful fucking brown trout that the lady caught.
Yeah, there's great fish in there.
God, I mean, stunning, actually.
It's in better shape than it's been in a while. I think it's perfect the way it is.
What's the forecast as far as flows? Any idea?
It's at 5,000 today.
Oh, wow.
So it's up a little bit. Yep. And then we got the snow system coming through the Bighorn Mountains right now. Okay. So a lot of that is going to depend on what kind of snow we get. And, last year with the high flows that we had, everything looked great until we got about 8 inches of rain in June. Yeah. And so, it's impossible to forecast some of that stuff.
Well, and talking about starting your season late April, early May, going back to those freestone fisheries and the guides that work those.
Right.
Let's face it, you get into fucking May, you can be over for 2 months on those freestones because of runoff.
Totally.
I fished locally on Sunday, and I even saw a bump in flows. I saw a bump, on the Stillwater walking it.
Yep.
So, that's a tough thing for, somebody to decide where they want to guide, where they're going to build their practice. And you did it on the horn, and really that's the only place to do it, isn't it?
Or you'd be a nomad like I did for a few years.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if that works anymore.
I don't know.
I think you can cut your teeth doing that for a season or two, but
it's not a long-term deal.
The other thing about it is that, your traction to being okay to decent as a guide, that has to fucking start immediately.
Sure.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's not like you just got your fucking CDL and now you get to drive fucking to Santa Fe in your semi.
Right.
I mean, it takes a lot of nuance. It takes a lot of skill. It takes a lot of everything in order to really do it right. And so far you are, let's face it.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for saying that.
Well, fuck, it's true. All right, so that's the end of episode 1. Fuzzy the Bighorn Guide, and we'll be back with episode 2 at East Rosebud Studios soon. Thank you very much. Out.